We got the initial bans here, Veno as well as the AA bans, and then Clockwork Underlord on the other side. And, well, we got a Bristle. First pick. Is anyone really surprised about that one?
I mean, we have a list of OP heroes on the whiteboard behind us. It currently is populated with just Bristleback. So
I got Pudge up here.
he's on the OP heroes list.
Okay, the OP heroes list. I was like, yeah, I don't know about
we'll
that.
Fill
list
that
right
out
there.
throughout the qualifiers hub and see if anyone joins.
I feel like Bristleback has gotten like somewhat of a boost because, you know, whenever those heroes are away from the meta for so long, like they're not really in, and then they come back in again because they've gotten some buffs and stuff. And they always hit harder than they actually should because it's an adjustment period of teams like kind of learning how to deal with these heroes, how to play against it in the laning phase, what is good against it right now as heroes. Because sometimes you think back, you get locked into like Dota 1 or early Dota 2 ideas, and you're like, oh yeah, when this hero was popular, these were the go-tos. Heroes, because sometimes
right?
sometimes you think back, like, you get locked. Oh, the counter to that hero is Ancient Apparition ideas, and then you're like, oh yeah, when this hero was popular,
well, maybe the same with Silver Age.
Because sometimes
Silver Age, then you realize this item costs a shit ton more money now.
Yeah.
And also the item built on Bristle actually okay. But to make him tanky without his passive, by the time you have Solar Crest and Halberd or some shit, like, you're pretty tanky. You're not easy to kill.
Yeah, you get like even just like a basic Solar Crest on yourself without using it. It was just you're still incredibly difficult with all that evasion or armor.
And now they found a way to amp his damage even of those quills with that wave of terror coming out from Vengeful Spirit. Of course, the swap saving presence here. And another kind of this quote-unquote counters that I've noticed been popping up a little bit. In fact, earlier today in the open qualifiers that we're watching, Necro as a pick against a Bristleback. Is that something that you think Happyfeet could be looking to pick here, or is that really not one you want to go after?
It's definitely good against Bristle. We saw it at the Epicenter finals when Matu busted it out. You get so much heal from the Ghost Shroud plus Magic Wand charges, but I think the ultimate still like isn't a guaranteed kill on Bristle, even when he's getting low because of just the passive. If you're not actually getting rid of the passive, the ulti isn't going to guarantee to kill him, so it's not like a end-all be-all of counters in dealing with the Bristleback. But I think Happyfeet have the right idea. Just focus on their own draft, get multiple ways of initiations. I think Charlie brought up. They get Nyx and Batrider, 2 fighting heroes, 2 initiating heroes, and they pick the Bat with the hero that counters him the best, which is the Nyx Assassin.
What about the idea that they actually had some more popular options to go with the Bristleback? You know, things like the Crystal Maiden, the Coddle, but they passed those up in place of a Vengeful Spirit right now. At least, you know, is that even going to be supported in the first place? But
well, the Venge is also a Batrider counter. Whoever gets lassoed, you can just swap. You can swap the Batrider test. Hello.
I think we might have lost Charlie there. I don't know.
Test.
Gets here.
Hello.
But yeah, you could swap out the person.
Yes, that is what I was.
Am I going out?
I hope so.
Yeah, we hear you, Cap. Maybe just Charlie's mic is...
Yeah, it cut off for me.
Wait,
so I don't know if he's still going to the stream or whatnot. But
yeah, I thought your mic just wasn't up, but it seems like it may.
All right.
I don't know.
All right, I'm good.
See if we get that worked out.
They banned away another Batrider counter at the Legion Commander. They also take away the SF, who would synergize well with the current minus armor plus physical damage. One of the dangerous things about Bristleback is that he really opens up Roshan for you, both because he's a very strong fighting hero at that important time during Roshan. He's really good at 15 minutes and doesn't really fall off till 35, so both first and second Roshan are usually secured by the Bristleback team, and he gives his own minus armor as well to the Rosh. So
I think this is really interesting, the Dazzle pickup, just because Bristleback fights tend to last a long time, and the Weave offers a really good solution to countering that. You know, you throw down the Weave, all of us Bristleback expects to be tanky and run around the fight for like 20 seconds or something. All of a sudden, Max Weave kicks in, and he's at like minus 20 armor or something.
Yeah. A similar idea to maybe like how Sven was picked up, except it's coming out of the support role where that bonus armor acts as a great counter, but then the great thing about Dazzle is it's bonus armor for you guys and theoretically minus armor for Bristle. Right. One of the easier heroes to actually get with the offensive and defensive use of the spell. So.
And it just always feels a little better too when you can pick that, again, that kind of that counter idea, that counter option as a support hero rather than forcing yourself to do it as a core even. So leave your core options a little bit more open perhaps, and maybe what Happyfeet's thinking about Earth Spirit coming out for Geek Fam right here. as another roamer. So are we confident that that's going to be a support Vengeful, or could that just as well be a core?
Could just as well be a core. I think they picked it up with the idea, like you asked, like why pick that over like a Crystal Maiden at first. So I think the idea is that it is the Bat Rider counter. So I think more likely you want your Venge as a support if you're picking the hero to just deal with the lasso. If he's a frontliner, if he's a core, you just end up lassoing the Venge, and well, Venge can't save herself. So it's kind of like the same idea where like Silencer against the Enigma. The core Silencer doesn't counter the Enigma as much because you're going to get Black Hole. If Venge is getting lassoed, then there's not much point picking the hero as a counter.
Got a Razor pick here. Cap, what do you think?
Oh god, Razor's such an annoying hero right now. He's like the self-sufficient, safe laning hero. He could potentially go mid as well, so there's some versatility when it comes to drafting him. He usually just dumpsters most of the melee cores that are very popular right now. Any of those Fens, Bristlebacks, they all have a really hard time dealing with Razor. And it's not like he falls off. Razor, Viper, those two are the two that I first pointed to in 7.0 that like these heroes don't drop off like they used to. They used to be like, we are mid-game dominators and we fall off super hard past 45 minutes. But they actually go into late game a lot better than they used to.
Link is always a problem that you have to deal with no matter what.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's why they go Drow Ranger, so it's like, hey, we're not actually running a Bristle strat, it's now like a Drow strat. A hero that doesn't care about the Link so much.
Yeah, and they've got really good options for their mid too. They can get Puck, Queen of Pain, both are out there. Lina is an option as well.
We're talking about for Geek Fam here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they are lacking on some team fight right now. So I do like the Puck option a lot.
Yeah.
But I am worried that it would get banned out.
Yeah, maybe one of the more obvious picks here. So Happyfeet gonna think about a minute remaining, but they do go Lina. So another one of those options you said. But yeah, if you're Geek Fam here, you have the pick after your ban. So Puck.
I think the problem with Lina is that she's really good against Razor because of the fact that she's got this burst damage and stuff, but the hard part is she actually right-clicks really hard.
Yeah.
And especially if you throw this Drow Ranger aura in to increase that physical damage early, it's actually like you can't think of Lina as just a I run around kill things sort of mid-game hero. It actually pushes late game really well now with all these like what is it, the Bloodthorn item that's get picked up now. It picks up MKB
the
and
talents
stuff.
are great too.
Yeah,
Plus 50 damage and the 25 one is fantastic.
It's like it's running around at max movement speed and auto attacks like 5 hits in a second or some crazy shit.
The crazy thing is like Lina is like a scarier like scaling right click carry than heroes like Shadow Fiend are these days.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the weird mixed up thing about Dota because of how just the patches have changed things.
So they ban out Tinker themselves and now gonna contemplate on theirs again. They still have plenty of extra time, but it seems like Puck's still on top of that list as far as what they're interested in. Happyfeet, what about them? I mean, one position for them still going to be coming, but do they need to wait for this mid option here? Or is there something that comes to mind now?
Yeah, they get the option of counter picking the mid hero. So if they Puck, maybe they TA.
Yeah. Well, gonna wait to see if
something
Puck
that
pops in.
Yeah, something that Geek Fam has to think about a lot right now.
Yeah, something else I wanted to bring up too when we're talking about this matchup here is Viper.
I like
coming out.
this. I think it's a hero that doesn't care about the Nyx and Bat Rider as much as a lot of those other int mids do. And I think it's kind of underpicked, undervalued hero right now. The 1 or 2 times I've seen it picked up in the last month or two, it's done incredibly well. So
Most of
I dig
the scaling mids aren't really an option either now. Like the Templar Assassin against Viper isn't good. I think you have to put the Razor mid now and get a different safe laner. Because Templar Assassin would have filled in a lot of good gaps. They would have been able to have another strong building hitter that would also give them Roshan. I think it's really important that they don't let Geek Fam take Roche control.
Yeah. It also would have been a mid laner that could get on top of the Drow.
Yeah.
So I think Geek Fam, like, and if they would have picked Puck, then TA would have been extra good here.
They don't have a whole lot of control for like a Weaver or something. Like they've got the silence of Earth Spirit and the silence of Drow Ranger. That's kind of it. I think you can work around with a more mobile carry.
It's okay, but at the same time, it doesn't feel good playing Weaver this game because you're off lane against a Bristleback. Vipers.
Oh, isn't that great? You just throw bugs on Bristleback. It's like one of the few heroes that deals with them. Okay.
It's okay, but then you have no burst damage at that point, right? It's hard to kill a Bristle. It's hard to kill Viper. You want to focus down the Drow, and the Earth Spirit's also annoying. So
What do you guys think of this pick?
Sven.
This was like the Bristle counter we saw at Epicenter. It was like first 2 picked against it. Not bad against the Drow once you have your Blink.
I mean, I think out of all their options, it's pretty good. It gives them that burst damage that they were missing, because they need damage to get through all the tankiness that is the Bristleback and the Viper. They also need a hero that can blink on top of a Drow and kill her quickly. Like, Weaver doesn't offer that option. It takes a little bit to kill the Drow.
Warcry is great this game, but my thing for Sven is that there's a lot of kite potential on that other side. Between,
And it's a
older
little
heroes
slow.
really, what's that?
It's also a little slow.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
We talked about SA Dota, the teams really excel when they're fighting a lot, playing aggressive, and that's maybe something Happyfeet don't have as much this game.
Yeah.
So we'll see how they make that work.
Jeez, but they do have Velo right there, 1539, giving them the tower advantage quite a bit. But here we go, guys. We got our regionals kicking off here for Southeast Asia. We are ready to get right into it here shortly, as something is wrong with my camera lock. 1 second. Trying to get that figured out here. Oh, okay, we should be good now. All right, here we go. So into the lanes we go. Let the spam begin with the voice chat here, and we got Earth Spirit early smoked up into the Radiant jungle.
Nothing too crazy. Dire team get down a lane ward at top. They get a deep jungle ward down bottom. Radiant team, similar thing, except they leave a ward in the mid lane. This is just to help the Razor in the 1v1 against the Viper, helping make sure you get that static link off, and you can kind of play the high ground game a bit better in the mid lane with the ward there. But won't see anything too much, except Geek Fam will get a D ward at top, so it's a nice little edge for them as far as their safe lane's going to go.
So yeah, something else I wanted to mention here, who's got caught up in the draft, but again, this matchup specifically, Happyfeet versus Geek Fam, obviously every match is very important, and the first round of the round robin here, you want to get up to a great start. But this is a rematch of those Galaxy battles, the qualifiers for the Southeast Asian region. Actually, Happyfeet ended up winning and qualifying for the event. They didn't do too well at the event itself, but qualified, so felt good for them. However, they had to get through Geek Fam as the other top team in a tiebreaker, and even tied after the tiebreaker finished. And it went down to the time, the length of matches, which is what ultimately sent them to the Galaxy Battle land. So you got to figure Geek Fam has a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah, it's like, we lost to you guys, but we didn't really lose to you guys.
Yeah.
We just happened to not make it to this LAN. And I mean, for Happyfeet, even though they didn't do very well at that event, it's still some good LAN experience for them, some competitive play against the top teams. But it's always very different playing these domestic matchups. As soon as you're versing teams you know well and you have your kind of own little SCA meta, you have to draft play differently than how you play against the likes of like Newbie and Planet Odd, who we saw doing well at that event. So we'll see what Happyfeet has brought back.
Yeah, look at this down here at the bottom lane. They're going to go aggressive, or defensive trial lane even against the Bristleback. Top lane, though, Bat Rider's in some trouble. One more auto attack going to do him in. Psionics there on the Drow Ranger finishing the jobs, but both sides running somewhat of a defensive trial lane to start, and, well, it works out better for Geek Fam as they get the first blood here.
Yeah, I think the key thing for Happyfeet is securing this Sven farm, so that's why they go with that initial tri lane. We'll see what the plan is for this Bat Rider, if he can get his level 2. Once he has level 2, he can fall back in jungle, but because of this lane ward and the roaming Earth Spirit, I think this is something Geek Fam have recognized as a weakness in Happyfeet's lanes. If they can find this Bat Rider, kill him a couple times, slow down that level 2, they can find kills. And they're going to go for another initiation up top. This time they missed the roll, though.
Yeah, got to really connect that roll if you want a good chance of getting said kill. Also, Sexy Bambo a little low on mana.
Oh, he lost his clarity too. That's really big. Yaj actually has a, well, I don't know about an advantage, but he can't really be killed without this magic missile, but
Yeah.
second clarity does come out. Earth Spirit pulls his.
He's trying to find him over there to perhaps
He
take it off
canceled
again,
another
and there you
player,
go. He cancels that one as well, so he will still be well short of that magic missile, so at least he has quite a window here.
He's getting stick charges, so he will have it with the stick charges, and actually Yaj is going in aggressive. He really wants to play up in Bambo's face.
Yeah, just being a nuisance to the supports right here and dodging the barrel roll on top of that, so sure he got first blood early on, but he didn't see the distraction here.
Yeah.
at the top lane, so there is that benefit. But a hero that's also great at distracting is that Bristleback at the bottom lane, and kind of keeping an eye on how they're both doing. And right now, Bristleback does have 5 CS actually down there, so that's a decent start.
He's doing just fine so far. Hit level 3, these level 2 quills help him last hit. Problem is the lane gets a bit harder now that he's used all his mana, so he can't use those quills to harass as well as secure last hits. So perhaps we'll see him slow down a bit, but they can't really kill him or zone him. This Dazzle Sven duo without a third hero are not going to be able to push this Bristle out of the lane right now, most likely. And
Nick's going to rotate back towards the bottom. Nick's Assassin has a 4 position. What are your overall thoughts on that? Because I feel like Nick's in the off lane, it seems like Secret even with Keizu plays that fairly often, amongst others. But running the 4 position more than roaming here, do you think there's still good potential for the hero to do well? Or
yeah, I like it as a 4. I think he's not the most effective or scary level 1 roaming heroes, but what Nyx is really good at is once you give him some levels. Like, he just does what he can in the early levels. Sometimes you'll see the level 1 mana burn go mid spam mana burn against the Viper. That does nothing, so he's gone for the level 1 Impale. This Nyx hasn't gotten much done for the first 3 minutes, probably won't get a whole lot done for like the first 6 to 7 minutes other than maybe like a counter gank. He's just sitting mid to protect the Razor, but the key thing is this is a hero that's going to add more than the Earth Spirit will once he's like level 6, level 7. Like level 1, level 2, Earth Spirit's a much more effective hero, but come mid-game time, come 10 minutes in when the real fights are happening, that's where having a Invis Nyx scouting and having an AoE stun to set things up is much more useful than an Earth Spirit, I would say.
Speaking of Invis of Sword, smoking contempt over here, but that Nyx, he spots them and thwarts them off for the time being. In fact, Sexy Bimbo could be in some trouble. Link goes out. You got Earth Spirit nearby, lining up the Boulder Smash. He hits the Razor, but he does not hit Nyx. Impale in 2 more seconds. Cannot stay close enough, though. He decides it's best not to go that far. Nice job blocking the barrel roll, by the way. Going to keep his teammate alive. And actually, can he stay alive is now the question. The answer is absolutely not. Teehee there on Viper will finish him. But he saves the Razor. That's what really matters.
Yeah. Save the Razor, but then they got a bit too cocky going in for the kill, which they didn't have to. And the Viper moves over to make sure they get the actual return kill on the Nyx. But kind of you can see his purpose there. Sit behind and sit in a position where he can protect his Razor mid. He did his job there. Unfortunately, they got too aggressive, feed a kill, but ultimately, Razor stays alive, is still farming in this mid lane, and that's at least some good news. The bad news is the Drow Ranger aura, the uncontested free farm of the Drow means top lane's winning, and Viper in the mid lane does have an advantage as far as raw CS goes against the Razor, despite Razor having the static link.
Yeah, 25-9 compared to that 17-7 Razor right now. So, but yeah, one more thing on the Nyx. You're kind of hinting at it too with the Vendetta. The idea that, yes, getting kills with it is ultimately what you want to be doing, but just the presence of it forces a team to play that much more defensive, really get those sentries and those observer wards up in very defensive spots. So it still does a lot of work, even if you ultimately may not get a kill with it. And that may be sometimes hard to appreciate as a spectator where, we're not necessarily in that inside of the voice chat or whatever. But middle lane, Razor is in trouble here. Viper putting in the attacks, trying to keep him slowed enough, but it's not going to be enough. Wave of Terror and the Boulder Smash connect, but now it's actually Earth Spirit that's going to be turned on. Vengeful will live. Nice turn right there. Great defense once again by Nyx.
Viper was like 1 or 2 CS from level 6. I think they made a mistake not waiting for that level 6 ultimate. If they have the Viper Strike there, it should be a kill on Benher, but the supports were smoked up. They got a bit impatient. Earth Spirit does land the roll, which was the hard part of that gank, but they just didn't have the follow-up from the Viper, so unsuccessful. And Viper actually doesn't level the ultimate, perhaps just a bit limited on mana, and he knows his supports aren't going to be coming back anytime soon, so holds off on leveling it. Something that's kind of a tricky and annoying to use against a Razor because he does have the unstable current, and it's very hard to chase after using it, but definitely not the build I'd expect out of the Viper.
Something that you also like seeing in the case of Happyfeet here is stacking of the jungle camps, specifically the Ancients. They already do have a double stack on really, one side, actually on both sides.
But they're both blocked now, too.
They are blocked, yes. So that's the defense there.
Yep, I like that from Geek fam. You're versing this Sven, you're not really contesting his lane. If you're not going to contest his lane where he's going to get a very fast Mask of Madness, that means he's going to be able to farm those Ancient stacks very early on. So they shut down the Ancients nice and early. 2 double stacks is something, but it's not like the quad stacks that you can build up. If at like 8 or 9 minutes when Sven's like farming quad stacks of Ancients, that's really bad news.
So one thing that you guys were having a discussion on after that first pick Bristleback was the idea of Silver Edge, and maybe it's oversold a little bit in terms of how much you really need it against a Bristleback. Now, they final pick the Sven, not really a Silver Edge carry, typically as top. He is good. He just has that good old Firefly will fly up the ledge and be fine. Point is, what I'm getting at, do you think not having that Silver Edge, will they force a Silver Edge, or is it really just not that necessary?
it's not essential. It's a off-lane Bristle for one thing. He's not going to get as ridiculously out of control on paper. And they've got heroes that counter him in other ways. They've got all this bonus armor from both Sven and Dazzle. They've got the static link from Razor. They've got Batrider Lasso to pull him in and help you assist in hitting him from the front. Nyx's Carapace can also guarantee stuns on him. I think they've managed to counter the Bristle in a decent enough way through their hero lineup that they're not going to be lacking and demanding a Silver Edge in their lineup.
Yeah. Drow here at the top lane, level 6, does have that marksmanship now, so a little more enhanced damage for her. Speaking of Jules, though, on that Nyx, back at the top lane, finishing those arcane boots and keeping nearby with the Batrider. I don't know if they're necessarily looking for a kill.
Yep. Hoping to bait the Batrider. Like if the Earth Spirit rotates up here, gets a dive in, Batrider has tremendous turnaround damage potential with one stun. They actually throw a gust, so it does look like they were trying to initiate a bit there. But this is, I think the Nyx in the early levels, we're seeing here what this hero really does. You sit behind whichever lane you think is about to get ganked. We saw it mid, it kind of worked out, at least as far as keeping the Razor alive. And we see it now in the top lane, where Nyx is just roaming around, picking up bounty runes, sitting behind whichever core hero he thinks is going to get ganked. Probably around 10, 11, 12 minutes, we'll see Nyx be given a solo lane just to get some more experience. He's not even going to be close to level 6. He's even with the Tomb of XP. So he really does need his lane, and that comes when the Sven hits up the jungle. Sven with Mask of Madness very easily can jungle now.
Just finished that right there. Top lane, Magic Missile encounter on the Batrider, drops half life. That damage coming out between the Drow, the Vengeful, and the Boulder Smash to help finish the job. But Psionics there on the Drow, last hit credit, taking that kill on the top lane on the Batrider. So obviously, I mean, that damage was intense. The Wave of Terror, only level 1, but again, the minus armor that it provides, still plenty. Hoping to shred right through that Batrider, who only has 3 in the first place, so dropping down to 1 right there.
Like the first Drow Ranger peak, you hit that level 6. It's a big boost in your damage output. That plus 40 agi almost like doubles your overall agility. It's a massive increase in attack speed and right-click damage. Smoke towards mid. Rogi on the high ground will pop it though.
Yeah, that was really clutch timing from the Earth Spirit. They want to set up a turn kill barrel roll, and this is a very ambitious dive right here by the Earth Spirit, and it is going to bite him in the ass as the Plasma Field will finish the job. But now, Happy Sana on Razor has to fall back before it's enough damage happens on him. Dazzle's there to help save, and he also had the Fairy Fire and everything else to stay alive. So he was going to be fine, but again, getting him low. Nice turn kill, though, on the Earth Spirit, who's now already back up. Being very early anyways, but so the smoking somewhat failed on the Viper, but they get something out of it, of course.
Yep. Got the one kill, not the kill they're looking for, but at least it's something. This Viper is very hard to bring down. He's got a lot of cheap, cost-effective items, the Wand, the Aquila, the Windlace, the Treads, 14 Wand charges. If you're going to want to gank and kill this Viper, you're going to have to commit a lot of heroes. So I think getting a support and losing no one is probably an okay result there for Happyfeet. We're still trying to stack these Ancients, and these wards have not been dewarded. They're only now being pinged out, so by the time they bring out sentries and look to deward these wards have already served their purpose and could be close to expiring.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you kind of wonder if they maybe thought the first time it's like, well, we just mistimed it or whatever, so that's why it didn't spawn. But no, in the case now they confirm that it is sure enough warded, and obviously, as you mentioned, wanted to take care of it. But we'll see how efficient they are with that. But Sven, again, Mask of Madness has been finished for a while. Now working on finishing those power treads on top of that. But Bristleback on the other side, going back to him, he's going to be finishing that that Vanguard, of course. But interesting with Bristleback, I find that he has choices depending on how the game and the matchups here. What do you think is going to be the case for him? Heaven's Halberd, Crimson Guard comes to mind. Maybe is there one of those? Or
Halberd seems amazing this game against the Sven. Very good against Razor as well. Oh, mid lane. Speaking of which, Razor gets kicked in.
Initiation following up with the damage, the Viper strike of Viper, and are able to finish the job. Bottom lane now. Bristle, they want this kill. They're going to go in, actually. God Strength active. He pops a Mask of Madness, goes in front. You see that chuck of damage, and they are going to make it happen on a Velo there. So it's always tough going on the Bristle like that, but they make it work, get in front, and do him in.
Bristle going down, it's nice, but yeah, I think the Bristle after Vanguard, he doesn't really want the Crimson Guard as much. At least I don't rate it that high because it's a small amount of damage block that's good against multiple instances of small damage. Sven is very high burst physical damage, so Crimson Guard is actually not a good item against the Sven. It doesn't really counter his damage output. We do still see some teams pick it up anyways, but I'm just not personally a fan. I think he's a lot better off getting a Halberd or a Solar Crest.
It definitely makes a sense though, with that big burst coming out from Sven, so just not nearly as much value from it. So, by the way, Batrider obviously also got picked off at the top lane while that was happening, so suffering his second death of the game, I believe that, or his third death even. 0-3-0 here at the top lane, so not the friendliest of starts here for Yash, but he actually does have the drums pick up on top of brown boots here. Drums, is this maybe a reaction to how things are going, or you like it overall?
It's always nice when you're dying and having a rough time to just be able to buy like these cheap parts so you lose less money from dying, which is part of the mentality in this, and also he knows his team wants to fight soon, and if you go straight for that naked blink dagger, it can sometimes be very difficult to make that big jump, and your team may want to fight before you finish it. So general idea is just getting an item that can help him and his team as early as possible. Although no points in Flame Break or the lasso means his ability to fight are somewhat limited. Just having the Firefly, he is kind of in farming mode.
Triple stack here for that. Sven even pops the God Strength for this with that Mask and Madness, so really wanted to get it down ASAP, and well, he did that actually, so my apologies, by the way. I was still in the last hits right there, but switching over to the net worth, we do have the top two farmers do belong on the Dire side of Geek Fam. Of course, both Drow and that Viper, and this seems like this is going to be the timing here for this Dire side, perhaps, as far as trying to get ahead now. 13 minutes in, they're getting out of the lanes now.
I mean, the second you see Drow and Viper in the same lane, you know they have one idea in mind, which is to just push down towers. These are heroes that are not grouping up for any other reason other than to push towers. You don't have the best initiation on this Geek Fam side, so when they both show in mid, they're not expecting to find hero kills. Unless Happyfeet come to defend this tower, all they're going to achieve is get objectives, but that's something in itself. Bottom lane, meanwhile, they are going on Velo. This is a big kill if they get it, and they will.
But this Magnetize in return, though, trying to make some setup happen. However, Earthspirit will go down, but if it comes out for a kill and a Razor, maybe worth it. That will. And they also got the kill onto Nyx off to the side, so it ends up being a 2 for 2. They do push that middle tower.
Not bad.
Definitely think you got to give favor to Geek Fam there.
Yeah, Geek Fam get the tower while trading 2 for 2 and killing the Razor, one of the key big cores. Bristle's like playing third fiddle to the Viper, the Drow. He's also already very farmed, like he's on par almost with the Razor, who's the mid laner for Happyfeet. So I think if you look at where this Bristle is right now, you're very satisfied as a team for Geek Fam with how farmed he is, and things are looking very good so far for their execution with this Drow strat.
Nyx, Vendetta's going to be up in 2 seconds down here at the bottom lane. You do see the sentry, though. He actually just placed a ward down and got countered. Immediately, so obviously he's aware that a sentry's here, and he's still going to run near it at least, but I don't think he was spotted for that time being, so maybe we don't have an exact idea of where he is.
They want to fight. They're smoked up, they've weaved up as well, they're ready to engage, but Bambo with an Invis rune.
That's big.
One sentry is there.
Oh, that's unfortunate. That was a pause.
Oh, that's that. I wasn't sure if that was us. Yeah, we all felt that one.
No, that was the server lag right there.
Bambo
and that
may
timing.
walk out of range of this sentry. It's going to be close. We can't see the sentry range during the pause.
I can't even click on it.
It's going to be right at the edge.
Oh, and he missed the impale.
That's right.
Jeez. That lag, and he actually swaps back in. They want to make this kill. The magic missile on a bat runner. Down goes the Vengeful, but at what cost now as they really are going into this. Viper Strike activated on Sven. He's trying to finish off the job with Earthspirit with that God Strength, the Mask Command itself, but it's not enough. And now Bristleback going to run him down with that Quill Span. Meanwhile, Razor looking to take out the Viper and maybe more, but they're biting off a little bit more than they can chew. And now he has to fall back, and Razor's in plenty of trouble. Does have the phase boots to activate here as Nyx Assassin nearby. Impale in 2 more seconds. Will it be in time? Sven also running back in. You got to be careful, though. Dazzle, nice job with that Shallow Grave, however, and now they're turning baby in favor of Happyfeet, but no, Geek Fam goes on a spin. They just have way too much sustain, and honestly, they're pretty damn tanky with both that Viper and that Bristleback Viper, of course, with that Corrosive Skin. And granted, it's only level 1, but still enough.
Yeah, still enough. Hasn't put too many points in it, knowing he's up against mostly physical damage, but it's pretty annoying just even applying that slow to enemies, and they will be rewarded with a tower on top of this one. So, nice attempt by Happyfeet to try and defend and fight that one. They were all weaved up at the start of the fight. That was a very ambitious swap in from Bambo. I don't think he needed to go for such an aggressive play, and his team kind of initially were losing the fight because the weave was almost at max bonus armor, but once that weave wore off, we saw the fight start to swing back the way of Geek Fam. Batrider ended up very alone, chasing deep, going for kills, and the result was that Geek Fam just a bit too tanky and durable. Winning the laning stage has meant they just a bit further ahead in items. You see Drow and Viper just 1700 HP on the Viper, Drowsing on 1400. these heroes are just a lot tankier than their counterparts on the enemy team. This Batrider is very squishy. Even the Razor has just a Midas phase boots, isn't all that tanky right now. Happyfeet are really just trying to hold on for the late game, while Geek fam are trying to play at a very fast tempo, taking lots of early towers, trying to really not let this game drag out too much.
Yeah, both going to have Hurricane Pikes in the very near future on that Viper and Drow. And, you know, that kind of goes back to that idea of the kiting. You know, I was really stressing with the Sven especially, but even for Razor, we saw that last fight. You know, he had trouble really sticking on top of them, and that's kind of what caused the turn kill eventually, as they just went back on him and tried to run away, and, you know, wasn't enough in the end. In fact, there's a Hurricane Pike finish, and Drow just about there as he gets the 4-staff taken care of. So, again, it seems like the progress being made by Geek Fam is overall very good. About a 5,000 net worth lead here currently. Looking only about 1,000 experience lead, but the net worth especially is what they're satisfied with. And now they're going to attempt a Roshan here. As, Batrider, he finds a solo Vengeful Spirit. Here comes Sven, the magic missile on a Batrider actually. I don't think Vengeful's getting out of this, or maybe the save from the Earth Spirit initially right there. They do get the kill, but now buy some time for Viper to come with that Viper Strike. However, no stun to stop the TP, so Sven at least will be fine. Batrider, not the same story. He goes down and maybe go back to Roshan. That's what they're thinking here. Yep, right back into the pit. No Batrider, no Blink. He only has 1280 gold, so can they really defend this if you're the Radiant side?
Nope. Well, I would say your best bet is split pushing some of these side lanes. Banner is nearby, but this Midas pickup means he is not ready to fight anytime soon. And the end result is very likely going to be not just an Aegis, but these last tier 2 towers should very easily be claimed by Geek Fam. I don't really see Happyfeet able to engage into them. They haven't got that Batrider Blink Dagger, which means they are very limited in their ways to initiate. Jayo's actually stealing an Ancient Stack. This is a really well-timed play from him.
Yeah, I mean, he does, but again, he might be in some trouble now for it. So his teammate just got picked up. They were actually running over, so Nick's at least scouted this out, but Jayo's still committed, and obviously it is going to bite him in the ass in the end, so maybe get some kind of damage out, but no, not nearly enough. So part of me wonders, I mean, is that worth it really, especially since he saw that coming?
The dying in the end, definitely not. If he gets away with the full Ancient Stack, it would be really nice for him. And if he can just clear that, TP out, and then walk away, maybe go TP home, start split pushing some lanes, but problem is now you're down and you're giving your opponents a chance to regain map control. They're instantly down the mid lane with this Drow and Viper. They know there's 20 seconds with no Sven, and he is going to really struggle this game. This is the Sven who's up against double Hurricane Pike, Viper Strike, Venge Swap. Good luck trying to dish out damage in a team fight against the kiting that's going to go down.
And that actually kind of brings me to something else I wanted to bring up here now as he's resurrecting from death, but he builds the Sage. My guess is going for that full on SNY even, but BKB, is that something that he really needs this game, or is it really not going to be the best ultimately?
I think it's not the best. All those kiting tools I just mentioned, I don't think the BKB really helps against any of them. I mean, you can't be Hurricane Piked, but they can still use them as force staffs to force themselves away.
Yeah.
I'll swap back the Catch Dazzle. And similarly, the Venge Swap goes through the BKB, so you can kite using that. The Viper Strike goes through BKB with the slow, so I think the BKB is ultimately not going to offer enough for him. Oh, they've caught Jayo again, maybe.
Oh, Boulder Smash misses, unfortunately for them.
As does the right
so.
click. They maybe slowed him enough, but he'll get away.
Yeah, so if not that, then what about maybe something like the AC, I guess, just trying to think on his progress here after the SNY.
Probably SNY Blink Dagger. You want some kind of jump to... Otherwise, you're never going to be able to right-click this Drow and Viper. They're going to kite you around. They'll slow you with the Frost Arrows, slow you with the Poison Attack. You have to have that gap-closing item in the Blink Dagger. I think it's an essential pickup. After the Blink, don't know, you kind of see how the game's going. Halberd could be an okay item for him, although I guess you'd have to disassemble your SMY. AC, I think, is also a good item after that because it is mostly physical damage.
Oh, swapping offensively again. Will catch a Dazzle, so no Shallow Grave to worry about, but now Vengeful Spirit. Looks like he is going to be picked up, but that was a lasso commitment to that. So both sides using a decent ultimate of sorts, and I think Geek Fam overall is going to be satisfied with, once again, sticking around and at least pressuring their tier 3 a little bit more. They feel very confident with where they're at. A very tanky presence in the Bristleback. That Blade Mail picked up by Viper. Spiked Gear-based initiation with the Impel on Earth Spirit, but no one really there to follow it up. They're doing a good job, though, of being very defensive, just sitting in their base, not overcommitting if you're Happyfeet here. That's the last thing you want to do is fight into them out of your base and not take advantage of your tier 3 tower being up.
Yep, they're just trying to hold their tier 3 as long as possible. I imagine at some point just slowly chipped away at it will go down, unless Happyfeet fully force a fight, but that's just something their lineup doesn't do well until Lasso comes back up, which is still a full 30 seconds away, so their initiation really depends on this Bat Rider. He doesn't have a 4-staff to go with the Blink, so he doesn't have that extra initiation potential. They don't have the Sven Blink, so they're very limited without these tools to actually fight into Geek Fam.
Drow just sitting in the front lines, of course, has that Aegis, and uses the Warcry pop and run away from Sven right there and teammates. Bristleback going to take his stun. Nice 4-staff over the ledge, though. Again, they have a couple of those, and using them very wisely. The static link, actually, from Razor allows him to get to 161 plus damage right here, so he actually is hitting pretty damn hard in the backlines. He did catch the Vengeful Spirit, it looks like, with the lasso. Crimson Guard pop by Razor as well as he just got that, and they will pick off Vengeful, this time at no cost for them. In fact, Bristleback also dropping initially there. His front was turned, but he does get 4-staffed away. Going to survive for now. Drow Ranger now being run down, but again, he has an Aegis, so you got to be careful about overcommitting to this. Razor is picked off at the backlines. Nyx goes down, and now Sven all of a sudden he's by himself. The Shallow Grave just going to delay the inevitable right here. Nyx comes back in with the Impale, but it will not matter, and now Jules here on Nyx also falls. That was a dieback right there. Yep, that's that tunnel vision of getting overcommitted, as we just talked about.
That's costly. They should have just stayed in their own base. They got a decent enough initiation killing the Venge, but once they start chasing, that's really their undoing. It's going to be a mid-melee Rax, and they're going to swing bottom, and without buybacks, they may get another tier 3. No, they actually think twice about it. They're pinging top, saying, let's just play it safe, go for the tier 2s, because these respawns plus a potential buyback from one hero could be problematic. So rather than overcommit, Geek Fam make the safe, reliable call. They know they're still in a highly advantageous position, and all they've got to do is just play this one out correctly, and they'll be able to take the win.
Yeah, according to the top up here, worked up an appetite of about a 12,000 net worth lead right now at 23 minutes in. I mean, that is a hefty lead in the case of Geek Fam right here, and it's just, again, there's no obvious answers for Happyfeet as we keep going back to it. It's not like there's that one item for Sven or even Razor that's like, oh, well, when they get that, you know, things can change. It just feels like that this potentially is going to keep up unless they get that 1 or 2 picks somewhere and they can work off of that. So they're going to need mistakes, basically, already in that spot.
And Happyfeet's running at Geek Fam. They smoked up 3 heroes. Batrider was not smoked and just ran past a creep wave, though. So Geek Fam are more than ready for this, and Razor was not with them as well. So this is a wasted effort. The general idea is right. Hey, Aegis just wore out. We all respawned as 5. We're really far behind. Let's go take a fight, catch them by surprise. Problem is, you can't do that until you push out your waves and have heroes off the map, which was not the case. So Geek Fam will get to reset, get to spend their money. They buy a Vlad's on Velo. Pretty like all-in early to mid-game item, but you're ahead by 12k gold. You know this next Roshan coming up could just be a second lane of Rax. You may even consider just going high ground without it. They're just going for very cost-effective items they can just buy right now. They want to end this game as early as possible, and with this kind of a pickup, they're going to be very hard to fight into. Yeah,
Roshan still, of course, has a while before he's going to be back up, but again, taking care of their jungle camp in the meantime. And some item that an item that we saw that last fight was that Crimson card used by Razor. We talk about the possibility maybe for the Bristle, but you brought up the good point. Now, Razor picking it up, and so by your logic, it seems like it makes more sense for their side against the likes of the Drow and the Viper, but not necessarily as bursty.
Yep.
Still a lot of physical, though.
Definitely a good item. I mean, it's not an item you like to see on a carry hero like a Razor, but he had to buy something, and I think it suits the purposes of this game.
Great pursuit right there by the Earth Spirit. They saw him initially. The first entry missed, but he blinked in and caught him with the second one. And then the immediate boulder smash into the silence combo to finish the job. So that's Nyx dead for another 25 seconds. Again, he's only level 11, so it's not like that's the longest resurrection here. But now you have a BKB finish on Drow. Viper, what is he? Oh, he has an SNY sitting in his stash, so hopefully he gets that by the time they fight here. But
he's like, guys, let me use this courier. Come on.
Yeah, jeez.
He's buying sentries for the team and everything, so we'll get those sent down bottom lane to help deal with this Nyx assassin, who will be respawning fairly soon. And looks like they are just going to go high ground without an Aegis. They can just chip at the tower, basically tell Happyfeet, try and engage, come at us, see what you can do. Because Venge has a swap to save someone who gets jumped on, also has a 4-staff. Not quite level 12, but even without that, I imagine Happyfeet are feeling like they're going to be pressed to engage into Geek Fam here. Geek Fam can be very comfortable in this push, even without the Aegis.
An offensive weave put out there by Dazzle, so that is going to scare them off for the time being. And, of course, having no creep wave helps with that. But just like we saw before, they are not afraid to just chip at this tower. And they have the team makeup most certainly for that, especially with the item like the BKB on Drow. I mean, sure, he doesn't have the Aegis this time around, but having the BKB almost kind of makes up for that. makes it somewhat similar. There's the offensive swap again onto Razor. Crimson Guard goes up, but it's just not going to be enough, it feels like. Although the Static Link is doing quite a bit of work, helping to keep him alive. In the backlands, Earth Spirit, he gets caught out. Dazzle forced to use the Shallow Grave on himself, actually, and that's never a good sign. Razor's dead for 50. No buyback. Sven, he's beating into that plate mill. There is a buyback on a Dazzle as well as a Sven himself right as he goes down. Impale comes out on 2. Vengeful Manda falling, but that's, if anything, the first target, the only target they are killing, it seems like. And, well, I guess Zero Spirit earlier, so they do get the Vengeful, but again, the death on a Bat Rider. And he actually does not have a buyback himself. So the 2-3 tower still has about half life, so they've gotten a little focused on diving into the base right here. But now Drow's going to finish off the tower, it seems like. And Geek Fam perhaps trying to finish off the game right here, right now against Happyfeet.
Oh, if you could even see Green, the Earth Spirit spamming, like pinging the tower, like guys, objectives,
Yeah.
don't dive. He could sense his team about to dive for kills and do the SE thing, which is where you just kind of throw away a lead, getting too aggressive, and he's like, nope, it's not happening. Good call from Rogi, making sure his team focused on objectives. Even on like fairly low HP, they had both Drow and Viper, like 20, 30% HP. They know that the Sven doesn't have... If Sven has a blink there, that's a risky play, but Sven had to use all his money on a buyback. It was just about at 2k gold. Could have bought a blink very soon, but that buyback shatters the hopes of Blink Dagger. I think without a Blink Dagger, I don't think Happyfeet can stand a chance to win a team fight. It's such an essential item on a Sven, and problem is he just can't find a way to farm it. And next time he may have it, but they're going to have Aegis and Cheese, and it's also your last racks. Down 4 racks, down an Aegis and Cheese. It kind of no longer matters if you get that Blink Dagger or not.
Yeah, again, it just seems that they keep missing these windows right here in this game, and now only 28 minutes in, not to say it's over 100%, but they really do need mistakes now of Geek Fam. They need them getting that tunnel vision, as we almost somewhat saw in that bottom lane, rather than going the objectives and maybe pick them off in your base and try to benefit from that. But overall, playing very clean here as Geek Fam. This draft has clearly come together strongly, and this being game 1 of the round-robin stage, again, against a formidable opponent, definitely, and maybe somewhat getting that revenge, as we were stressing from the very beginning. But it's the beginning of a long journey ahead, no doubt.
Oh, yeah.
For both of these teams here, so.
It's definitely nice. I mean, that's the thing. For Happyfeet, it's like just 1 loss. Top 5 all make it to the next stage. First, obviously, qualifying straight to TI, next 4 into the playoffs. So 1 loss doesn't hurt you in the match. For Geek Fam, it's the other mentality where, hey, we don't want to lose it all because finishing first gets you directly into the main event at TI. So getting first is such a big thing to do in this group stage. So they want to try and get that clean record.
This very likely could be the beginning of the end right here. Bat Rider, he's looking for an option. He found it right there. He finds the option. Who is that? That's the Drow Ranger. That could be a prime target. He has the Aegis, though. That's the issue. And the Hurricane Pike into the swap out immediately. Now Sven, he's taking damage out of half-life. He does not have a buyback, remember. So the Blink Dagger, as expected, not really doing a whole lot. And despite really maybe the prime target that they're looking for, they get the lasso, but again, it's just too much to handle. As expected, we're going to see Megas in just a matter of time before those GGs inevitably come out right here. So it is going to be official. GG, well played. Our first game of these regional qualifiers is going to wrap up with Geek Fam over Happyfeet.
Just well put together draft. I think 2 things I really like. They hid the fact it's a drought strat with their draft until the draft pick came up. The fact you open with the first pick Bristol